I remember growing up since 16, 15 years old, I would always have this nervousness when I started talking to women, when I started to interact with them. Like, I would always be nervous. I would never show it on the outside, right? On the outside, everything's cool, but on the inside, like, it's like my heart would be beating a million miles an hour. I would be super nervous. I wouldn't know what they would say. Like, I would always be overthinking. And I constantly, what I found was I was putting women on a pedestal. And I know a lot of men who do that. And a lot of men will probably just clown on me for saying this, that my previous experiences in life. And they'll be like, oh, it's because you're a dork. It's like, bro, I'm just man enough to be able to say this on camera. Like, and try to help people who are going through some similar things that I did when I was growing up. I'm 28 now. A lot of people ask me how old I am. I'm 28. So over time, man, I started to really try to dissect, like, how do I get out of this situation? I would talk to a woman and all of a sudden, bro, like, I would just consistently, like, stumble over my words, or I would feel like my nervous system was deregulated to the point where, like, I'd have shallow breathing and it'd be so uncomfortable. And it was like, even after I got in shape when I was 19, when I did my body transformation, I was attracting a lot of women, beautiful women, but at the same time, I would be so uncomfortable being around them for a long period of time because I just consistently put them on this pedestal. And there was one thing that I did. There's one mental model that I started to adopt, a shift that completely changed everything. And it was literally that I looked at women as walking meat suits, walking meat suits that took a shit in the morning and then during the day and also farted in their sleep. That was my mental model that I had every single time. I remember, like, finally realizing this and saying, they're just like they're humans, just like everybody else. They're not like God's gift to earth. That's what, like, media and mainstream media wants to do, to show you, to imprint in you as a man. But it's like, they're literally the same as you. If not, they're more insecure than you. The prettier the woman, the more insecure that she is in herself, right? Because she has these standards for herself. And you'll notice this. You'll start to pick up on this. And a lot of men, when they start talking to beautiful women, they start to, like, lose that idea. Like, they start to lose themselves. They start to forget about their own self-image, their own self-respect. And they start to fumble. They start to do things that they normally wouldn't do. They start to say things that they normally wouldn't say. And they start to get very, very unsuccessful with talking to women. And I remember I would always be friends with women. I would always have them around. I would always talk to them like they were just another bro. And it was interesting because the more that I did that, the more that they were interested, the more that they got attracted. It wasn't because I was like this big macho man, whatever. No. I just looked at them like normal people. And it was the same when we look at, like, normal dating and, like, when you get on social media, there's a lot of guys who will just like the pictures that the girl does as thirst traps. And it's like, bro, you're blending in with every other guy. What if you're the guy who likes the stuff that don't show her body? It's different, right? It's a different thought process. She sees you're the guy who likes this, you're the guy who likes that. I'm not here to talk to you about game or anything like that. It's just the principle of not pedestalizing women and really looking at them like they're regular people. It's a game changer, I think, for any guy to start to actually implement this and start to learn, like, how you can start to humanize women. I know it sounds so basic and obvious. A lot of guys who are older and probably have experiences are probably going to be like, oh, this is common sense. It's like, bro, if it was such common sense, why are videos about women blowing up? Videos about female nature blowing up? Because there's a lot of men who don't know this stuff and try to hide it behind closed doors. And they struggle with this stuff, but they don't want to say it out loud. I'm just the guy who just says this shit out loud. And it's like, it's cool to see, like, the minute that you stop pedestalizing them, the easier it gets to actually date them, the easier it gets to talk with them, the easier it gets to, like, actually have them attracted to you without you having to chase. Because the guy who chases is the guy who literally puts her on a pedestal and completely lowers his self-image to the point where you become her fan. And when you become her fan, she's going to treat you like a fan. So the best thing you could do is look and say, this is a walking meat suit, like walking meat, whatever. Takes a shit in the morning, probably makes a face when she does it. I know this sounds pretty graphic and crazy, but I think about this shit. Takes a shit in the morning, has a face when she does it, and then farts in her sleep at night. Because I guarantee you all women do it. All of them do it. None of them are just walking roses and shit. And the minute that you understand that is the minute that talking to women will be significantly easier. Your life will start to get a lot easier when it comes to like dealing with women and stuff like that. You'll stop being fazed by certain things. You'll stop being nervous. Your nervous system will be super regulated. And also when you're in shape, your self-image goes up, right? When you get in shape, all of that. And it becomes interesting. Like I started even fighting, like that increases your confidence even more. Not saying I needed it to increase my confidence, but I noticed like my nervous system got regulated when I started doing very risky things like sparring and stuff like that. It relates to now when you go and you deal with women, you essentially start to, you know, be comfortable and be calm because you're like, bro, this is way easier than getting punched in the face. This is a normal person. And they actually appreciate that a lot more than the guy who's the fan and the guy who's constantly like pedestalizing them, like telling them like all of these things before they've given him anything. He just constantly reaffirms how superior she is. And she just looks at you like Chris Brown would look at all the women that talk to him. It's like, oh, you're just like everybody else. But if you're the guy who can talk to her, and this is why guys who may not even look the best can get quality women because they treat them like bros. They treat them like humans. That's why it works for them. That's why some average guys can literally get with some of the most beautiful women because they genuinely just don't care about the look. They don't care about, yeah, the look attracts them, but they also look past that and say, you're just like me. I'm actually going to start clowning on you. I'm going to start making jokes around you. And it's like little things like that will help you in that process. That helped me at least when I was getting better with the process. I didn't learn all of these different cold approach systems and strategies. I didn't go find a dating coach. I didn't do any of that. All I did was I just had my worldview, my mental model, like every single woman, regardless of how she looks, shits, eats, farts, does all of that just like I do. So there's no way that she's better than me. There's not a chance in the world. And that confidence shows, and it becomes significantly easier to move. But a lot of men don't ever have that mentality. And this is a big mentality shift for a lot of men who don't know. Now, for the men who already know, again, good for you. That's great, right? I already know the comment section is going to be like, yeah, bro, this is common sense. Why do we need to say this? Because unfortunately, there are a lot of men who never understood this. There are a lot of men who this actually benefits, which is why I say these things. It sounds so basic, but it's so true. And the minute that I started to understand this, the minute that I started to implement this, everything became so much easier. Everything. Living with a woman became a lot easier. I know a lot of guys are like, you never live with a woman. I always tell guys, do it. If you've never done it before, do it and experience it. And you'll learn way more than just like casually just dating and not taking one seriously. That's my controversial take that most people won't agree with. But that's the thing that like you learn a lot of shit. You learn a lot. You start to see shit that you've never seen before. You start to walk by the bathroom and you like, damn, this shit smells, bruh. And you realize, oh, just like me, when I take a shit, it doesn't smell good. You start to hear farting noises when they sleep and shit. You're like, oh, just like me. You start to see the insecurities. You start to see the insecurity in how they look, even though you think they look really good. In their mind, they don't. And these are the insecurities that you have to understand as a man that helps you become way more confident when talking to women by far. Because once you're in shape, once you have the physique, once you've built yourself up a certain way, if you can implement this, dating is nothing. It's easy. It's very, very easy. It's simple. So that's literally like for me, what changed everything. And I never went back after that. I never had those issues anymore. I never had the shallow breathing. I never had the stuttering of what I'm going to say. I never had like a mental block of like how I was going to talk. All of that came super, super natural. Once I understood that one stupid concept that I thought was stupid at the time, but it's brilliant to me, you know, maybe stupid to other people. But it's crazy to really see how your whole entire vision of women changes when you start to realize that. And you don't realize that your unconscious mind is literally putting them on a pedestal because you don't think that they can do anything wrong. Again, I'm not saying all men think this. I'm saying there are still men who are in that phase. And once you start to understand these brutal realities, you get out of that phase fairly quickly. And everything becomes significantly easier. So I hope this was helpful for you. This is something that I wrote this in my Telegram, my private Telegram. The link will be in the description if you want to join that. But like, that was the first thing I said, and all the guys started laughing and shit because it's so true. But yeah, that's what I got for you guys. I hope this was valuable. This is something that I learned, hopefully early enough for me. And I'm in a really good relationship now, and I keep the same principles, right? And it tends to work pretty well, even for long term. So again, hope this was valuable. Link will be in the description if you want to tap into any of my courses, any of my coaching or mentorships, whatever that looks like, my free guide that I have, feel free. I appreciate you guys. And for the guys who say, oh, he's selling courses, and of course, come on, bro. I'm not going to sit here and be stupid and say, oh, I have nothing to sell to you guys. Like that's retarded. Like, what the fuck? Of course I want to sell my knowledge. Of course I want to sell my experiences. Of course I want to do that. That's just life at this point. This is modern life. You sell your knowledge, people buy it, they get some value from it, you're good. All right. So I appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you on the next video.